everyone, and welcome to another episode of Taste Kitchen. I'm your host, Brittany Cascone, and today we're going to be talking all about plant-based eggs. Now, being that it's Better Breakfast Month, we couldn't think of a better option than to talk about and feature Just Egg products. Joining me today is Josh Tetrick. He's the CEO and co-founder of Eat Just. Welcome, Josh.
Hey, Brittany. Good to be with you this morning. I'm coming to you from the mountains of northwestern Montana. We escaped
I love it.
The fires of San Francisco, so we're ready to make some eggs.
I can't say I blame you. You're probably having a little peace and quiet there, right?
Definitely. It's kind of old school furniture in the background, so excuse that. But other than that, we're ready to go.
No worries. We want to focus on those eggs. That's what we're featuring here.
Yes.
So can you tell our audience a little bit about the development of Eat Just and actually the initial concept behind Just Egg? I mean, we know that it's not eggs, so we want to know a little bit about it.
Yeah. So the egg is far and away the most consumed animal protein on the planet.
Absolutely.
1.4 trillion eggs were consumed last year. 1.4 trillion. Billions of animals, lots of soy consumed and lots of corn consumed, which require lots of land, water, which means a ton of carbon emissions. And we think we can do it better for our own health and also for the planet itself. So once we realized that, we thought, all right, what does that mean to do it better? Is there a tool out there that is mostly underutilized? And it turns out there are 390,000 species of plants all over the planet. Far less than 1% have been explored for how they can make all of our food better. And plant proteins are good proteins, lots of high quality antioxidants, strong macro and micronutrition. So the next step was, can we find a plant that scrambles like an egg? And if you imagine cracking an egg and putting it in the pan, it doesn't just look at you, it solidifies, right? So the challenge was, can we find a protein in a plant that would solidify or gel, as my food scientists say, at the same time and temperature of chicken egg protein? I thought we were going to do it in a year. It took us 4.5 years. It took us a lot more money than we thought too. And then we had to figure out a way to get the protein out of that. And that's a process of milling and separating the protein. Finally, after I've aged, I think 30 years since I started the company, and we built out this, we were able to launch it really finally in 2019.
Amazing. And you know what's so funny too is a lot of people, being that it's 2019, 2020, a lot of people started to say, you know what, I really don't want to eat animal protein. You see a lot more people going vegan. So I think this is just like the perfect timing. And especially now with everything going on with the pandemic. Can you touch on the convenience in regards to the pandemic? Have you seen an increase in your sales since this has all started?
Yeah, so the pandemic has had a really interesting impact on us. I think the biggest impact is, I think folks around the world are starting to understand that COVID-19 is a zoonotic disease. And a zoonotic disease literally means a disease that jumps from an animal to a human. And we need to figure out a way to de-risk the food system. And one of the ways we can de-risk the food system is by eating more plants. That's both whole plants, like things like collard greens and apples and squash, and also plants like Just Egg. So we do think it's important as a way to reduce the risk. And we've seen a significant percentage of consumers saying they want to eat more plant protein, in part because of this awareness. So our retail sales have gone up by a significant amount, whether at Walmart or Whole Foods or Kroger. And more people are saying, what if I could have this for breakfast? Now, interestingly, very few percentage of the folks who eat it are vegan or vegetarian, which might be a surprise. The vast majority of people who are buying it are saying, I want to eat a little bit better. Healthier protein sounds like it would work for me. And man, maybe I should start for breakfast. And that's what's driving it.
No, and it's so true. And a lot of the time we see in the media, they focus upon selling pharmaceutical things. We don't really see focusing in on how much nutrition can actually help our immune system. So I was wondering, we had to ask that because I'm sure with the pandemic, so many people, like you said, they want to eat better. And what's funny too is I'm not vegan. I do eat very healthy. I eat very organic, but I actually did a food sensitivity test and I have a food sensitivity to eggs and I had no idea. So this is like the perfect alternative for me because I know that the mung bean is so high in antioxidants too, which is great for you.
That's right. So the mung bean, what's really cool about the mung bean, and I grew up in the South in Alabama, so I definitely didn't know anything about the mung bean when I was munching on chicken wings in Birmingham. But the mung bean has been in the food system for over 4,000 years. So
wow.
we sure as hell didn't discover the mung bean. It's been out there.
Right.
Farmers have been growing it. You might know a traditional Indian dish, dal. So the mung bean is used all around the world, primarily in Asia. But it turned out that the ability to make an egg was inside the mung bean all along. We just had to find it and then get it out.
That's so very interesting too. Now, can you talk a little bit about the ingredients that are in this? I know the mung bean is obviously a very big focal point. I know turmeric is a very big focal point, which is great for inflammation. But what are a few of the other ingredients that are in there?
Yeah, and you're right. Mung bean and turmeric are the primary ingredients. We have a bit of salt in there, and in subsequent versions, we're actually going to be lowering that. We have other seasonings to help balance out the flavor. We've opted to use a non-GMO canola oil. Optimally, in a future state of the product, we might not even have any oil, both for our perspective of reducing costs, and we think potentially also amping up some other health benefits. But one of the core principles of our company is, how can we every single year make this better? And when we mean better, we mean smell, taste, texture, the entire sensory experience. We mean health, micronutrition, macronutrition, a whole range of antioxidants. And also we mean cost. What would it look like if this was significantly more expensive than even the lowest cost chicken egg, was substantively healthier, and 75% of people preferred it even to the best tasting pasture-raised egg, right? That's what we're pushing on every single day. And you're actually trying there, Brittany, I hope version 3 of Just Egg, which is not actually out in the market yet. So you'll be one of our sensory panelists here to give us a sense of what we should do to adjust it. But we do think this is a step up from version 2 that's currently in the market. So I'm excited to see what you think of it.
Oh, I'm excited too. So that's actually speaking to what we're going to be doing next. We're going to be getting into pouring the pourable egg into the pan. Now, right here, I just sauteed a little bit of mushrooms, a little bit of spinach. Now, again, it's your choice of what you want to use. You can use any vegetable. These are great. We have a little bit of greens. And now we're going to get into pouring the Just Egg.
There we go. Now, we do, as you're doing that, Brittany, we really encourage people to eat Just Egg with whole plants. So I'm glad that I'm glad that I'm seeing mushrooms and leafy greens
nice and
there,
fresh, right?
Which are some of the best things in the world for you. You don't need a company like ours to spend all this money on research to do that. You can just work with farmers to get it. But we really do want to encourage recipes where Just Egg is mixed with leafy greens, with mushrooms, with herbs and spices, with things that are substantively good for you, as opposed to encouraging people to use it with, maybe not so good ingredients.
Absolutely. So while this is cooking here, can you tell us a little bit about the production process of how the pourable liquid egg is made?
Sure. Can I ask you making an omelet or scramble? What?
So I think I'm going to go with an omelet. I'm no emerald here, so watch out, ladies and gentlemen. But I think I'm going to go with an omelet here. I've got my chives to add in. I've got some plant-based cheese that I'm going to throw in. So right now I'm letting it cook up. And I have to say that I also love, too, how it just forms to the pan. A lot of the times when you have those liquid eggs, they start to bubble in certain places. And I get so frustrated when I'm cooking an omelet. So this is like so beautifully, the consistency of the way this is laying in the pan is awesome.
Now, my chefs really had to teach me. I grew up just eating scrambled eggs. My chefs really had to teach me the appropriate way to make an omelet. I still screw it up.
I'm sure. Listen, you're going to have to teach me because I don't know how this is going to end up.
So the whole process really starts with the beans. So we work with farmers in Asia and East Africa, and they grow mung beans for us. And then we take the mung bean and we mill it into a flour. And then we take that flour and we say, all right, how do we get the protein? Because the protein's a really important part out of it.
Right.
We take the flour and we have a process that separates the protein from the other elements, the fat and the fiber and the starch. So we're left with pure mung bean protein. And it's that mung bean protein that's actually doing the scrambling in the pan for you right there. So what you're going to be looking for is it scrambling at a certain time and temperature. We don't want it to take 3 times as long as a conventional egg. And we also don't want it to scramble faster. We want it to feel like something that you're used to. So then we take that mung bean protein and we mix it with some of those other ingredients we talked about, the turmeric, the oil, and then we mix it in what's called a high shear mixer. We put it through a pasteurization process to make sure that we're reducing any micro issues then we put it in a bottle, and then we ship it out. And we've sold the equivalent of about 50 million plant-based eggs since it first hit the market. And it's this version that we're really excited about. This is going to be coming out before the end of the year, the version 3 that you're trying right now, which is, we think, is a little bit creamier, more of an egg-like bite, a really nice flavor profile. That's a step up from version 2.
Well, certainly to the naked eye, it looks like an egg. You would never know the difference. I could fool anyone, my husband especially.
Now, is this going to be like a Southern omelet? Is this a French omelet? What kind of omelet we getting after here?
You know what? I'm not sure. I don't know, with the chives and everything and the cheese. I'm thinking this is, I don't know about Southern. I don't know what type of omelet we should name this.
This is like a California, I think.
Like, you know what would be good with this too? A little side of avocado with it, like a little, California. I like that one.
California style, okay. Yeah, I would have in Alabama, I would have just asked my mom to put, probably some like burger crumbles and cheddar cheese and God knows what else is in this.
The shredded cheese, Kraft shredded cheese.
Yeah.
All right, so this is great. So here's going to be the big question of now when I flip this, get this to turn into an omelet.
This is the moment that's always nerve-wracking for me is
it
going to work? Is it going to work?
Don't judge me.
No, I'm judging my own product, not judging you.
Ooh, I think I did pretty good.
Okay. It worked all right.
Oh, yeah. All right.
There we go.
Not too bad. Gotta flip this bad boy. Not bad.
So
and you know what's funnier too? Like I said, if I were to use eggs at home, or whenever I do any type of egg white, it's all over the place. The consistency of this and how beautifully this naturally went into an omelet, I'm very impressed, Josh. Very impressed.
Thanks for
I need to put a little cheese on here now. Little plant-based cheese.
And then we have we have people that are eating just egg with. This is not just something where you can only eat it with plant-based ingredients. We do really believe it's important to meet people where they are, and better is good. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and quote eat perfectly. That's not an expectation that any of us have, but we do want families and consumers around the world to eat a little bit better. And you mentioned it too. One of the, if not the most effective thing that you can do to increase your longevity, to reduce your risk of chronic disease, many of which are preventable, right?
Right.
Is just the food that you decide to put in your body every single day. And, it's a shame that's not really taught at medical schools. It's a shame when you go to your doctor. It's not the very first thing that's mentioned, right? But it's a thing that often can have the biggest impact.
Yeah, it's so funny. Actually, a book that I read, The Medical Medium, his number one thing that he says to cut out of your diet, no matter what your health illness is, it doesn't matter if you have a chronic illness, an acute illness, he says cut eggs out completely. So that's when I started reading his book, is why I really followed it too. And then I found out I had a sensitivity. But there are so many people that I know that are like, oh, I still cheat with an egg. And they wouldn't have to cheat anymore if they had something like this,
No, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And I think we're seeing. You mentioned the impact of COVID, Brittany. That we asked 2,000 people in early July about how their food preferences are changing because of COVID, and 53% of the 2,000 people that were asked said they're eating fewer animal products in light of the pandemic. And I think underneath that has to do with people trying to have stronger immune systems. People are a little bit more aware of their health in part because of this. And there's a sense of, where the hell did COVID come from, right? And again, the answer is it came from an animal, right? It came from human beings messing with the natural world a little bit too much. And often that can spill over, and we don't need to do that, right? We can eat what folks grow and maybe be better off for it.
No, I agree. So, Josh, we acquired data from the Good Food Institute, and the dollar sales of plant-based eggs grew 192% in the past year. Now, what percentage does Eat Just own within that category?
We were the forerunner in this when we launched Just Egg in the first full year of 2019. It was really the very first plant that is an egg ever launched on the planet. So as a result, we're a bit ahead. We own about 99.2% of that category. And we want other companies to come in. I founded this company because I didn't eat that well growing up in Birmingham, Alabama. My parents cared about me a ton, but they weren't really thinking about nutrition as much. And often the healthy thing was really expensive. So I was motivated after spending some time in sub-Saharan Africa and thinking about what the hell I want to do with my life. And after I realized I couldn't be a professional football player because I just wasn't big enough or good enough, to try to do something
meaningful. If you ate these
meaningful
plants, you might have been.
Say it again. I know.
I said if you ate these
right.
plants, you might have been.
I know. So try to do something meaningful to get the food system on a slightly better track, and thought, what's the most eaten animal protein? It's the egg. How do we remove the assumption that an egg necessarily has to come from an animal, right? Many people have removed the assumption that a car needs to have an internal combustion engine. A car can also be powered by electricity, right? We've removed that assumption. Similarly, it doesn't have to be the case that an egg necessarily needs to come from an animal. It can come from a plant, and you end up getting lots of positive things that follow from that. Hopefully the damn thing actually tastes good, right? Because everything I just said is kind of a waste of time. If that omelet,
well, you know what? This is going to be the true test. Listen. No, I'm telling you right now, I think this is going to be good. And this is going to be the true test. Right now, I'm going to be able to taste it. So I think that this is exciting. The moment of truth. I'm going to lie about my own cooking on camera. This is the best thing I ever had. No, it's all about the ingredient. I want a little bit of mushroom in there, too. I mean, the consistency, I know I keep saying it, but it literally looks and feels the texture of a real egg. You would never, absolutely never know.
Yeah. Just be glad you're trying version 3, not version 1, though, Brittany. You wouldn't have said the same thing about version 1.
This is delicious. Not just saying it. Truly delicious. I'm going back with a little cheese on here with the chive. This is delicious.
So that was made, Brittany, by folks who are out there trying to find the plants, people experts in sourcing, people who really understood what is happening on the deepest level of the plant. Then we had food scientists and we had Michelin star chefs who put it together. And the chefs are sort of our last stage gate. So we don't release anything until our chefs say, all right, that's good enough.
I think they nailed it on this one. No, I'm excited about this. This is excellent. Now, where can we get something like this?
So you can find Just Egg at your local grocery store, almost wherever you shop, whether that is Kroger or Whole Foods or Publix in the South, or Sprouts, ShopRite. We have broad national distribution. You can go to our website at ju.st. And at the bottom, you can hit find it, just put in your zip code. You'll see all the places it's available. And then when you get to your grocery store, all you need to do is ask, where are the eggs? You probably already know where the eggs are sold. And we're sold right there with all the chicken eggs. And we'll typically be the only one that's from a plant right there. And then many restaurants around the country, cafes, and soon to be some large national chains that we'll be launching with.
No, that's awesome. And you know what's funny too is during the pandemic, a lot of people weren't able to go to the grocery stores. So the fact that you can get this online, or they're still not comfortable. So the fact that you can get this online is like amazing. Right. Get it shipped anywhere. Yeah. And I think that this is great for young kids too, with their cooking, that if they're, new into cooking and they don't really know how to cook an egg or really, this is so easy. You just pour it right in with your vegetables. This is great. This is absolutely great. Right. So now I'm really excited about this too, because speaking about younger kids and speaking about convenience, can you touch a little bit on the latest release, the folded egg? Because it's not just the pourable egg that you have.
Yeah. So we were thinking, all right, how do you make this a little bit easier? Not everyone can make an omelet like you just did,
or has the time,
or has the time. So how do we make this a little bit easier? So we came out with a product called Just Egg Folded. That's essentially an egg that you would make, but folded. It's in frozen form. And the best way to make it at home is just pop it in a toaster. You put it in a toaster for a handful of minutes, just like you would, just like I did a Pop-Tart when I was growing up in the South. And you have a nice, easy, very high protein, clean protein option for breakfast. And that folded product is now the #1 selling frozen breakfast item at a major national grocery store, a top 5 national grocery store. And it's the very first time, Brittany, that a plant protein has been the #1 item in a major category in a national grocery store. So it's a big industry
That's
milestone
amazing.
that the folded egg has achieved. And I think an indicator about where our food system is headed.
And I think that that's so important. Congratulations, by the way, because that is huge. And I just think that that's so important because, again, starting with our youth, even saying like, how great if you were a college kid and, you know, you like to make breakfast sandwiches, those ones that come frozen, that have all the preservatives in them, they have all these additives in them, GMOs.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why we're seeing such an increase of obesity in our generations to come. And something like this, just like you said, a small little change. We're not expecting you to eat so crazy, drastically different overnight, but something with a small change like this to influence them and to have the convenience already there. I mean, this is great. This would be great for me when I'm constantly on the go. You know, I have a 4-month-old baby that I don't always have time to make myself. This is the first omelet I've made in, 4 months because I don't always have that time. So I think being able to eat well and have the convenience of that, I mean, I can't imagine that this isn't going to sell off the shelves for sure.
And that's right. That's right. I mean, your point of, these small steps that are so important. I do think people get caught up in thinking it's this choice between perfection or just doing what I'm currently doing. And that's a false choice. That's not the way it has to be, right? We can do
I agree.
very small things, and we do believe that better is good, right? And those small things create new habits in your mind and do a lot for your body, longevity, and reducing risk of chronic disease. And that's what we want, for the planet. And that's what we're trying to do.
Now, Josh, how can these be a suitable option for restaurateurs as the industry continues to face changing consumer demands to have alternative proteins? Because like you said, you're going to start seeing where people are being more health conscious. And now when they go out to eat, they're going to say, okay, well, on the brunch menu, I need an alternative. So how do you think that that's going to change?
Yeah, so we're seeing already really as of recently, we started rolling out to more restaurants, medium-sized chains, and we'd be rolling out to larger chains in the next year or two. And what we're hearing from restaurants, what we're hearing from larger fast food chains is essentially what you said. More folks are trying to eat a little bit better. Again, not that more folks are necessarily saying I'm vegan or vegetarian, but more people are saying I'm trying to eat a little bit better. And healthier protein's a good place to start, and breakfast is a good place to start. And those restaurants and those big chains, they want to bring in people that are feeling that way, right? They want them to come into their restaurant. They want them to add dollars to their register. And as a result, they're putting it on the menu, right? They're not necessarily taking other things off the menu, but they're saying this is a good option for you to come in, for you to eat a little bit better. And it's one of our biggest sources of growth, right? We want to be available where the consumer is, whether that's walking down a block and seeing a diner, or whether that's in the Walmart egg aisle, right? We're going to be there with hopefully something that helps them a bit.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, I know you recently announced your retail program expansion. Can you touch on what this means for the company? What was the reason
what it means
for this?
What it means is it's one step closer to being available to every person in the United States. And the whole point of doing this wasn't to just sell to my friends in San Francisco, even though I love that my friends can have access to this at Whole Foods, but to try to figure out a way to sell to people, to reach people who live in Birmingham, Alabama, where I was raised. And this big expansion, which includes Walmart, means that 6 miles from where I went to elementary school in Alabama, Rocky Ridge Elementary, my favorite first grade teacher, Miss Nelson, my favorite teacher of all time, Miss Nelson can now get Just Egg 6 miles away from where she's still teaching kids, right? So it's that kind of access, that broadening out. That's what it means. And for us, more access means more human beings out there. More of our fellow citizens are consuming less LDL cholesterol. It means that collectively as a society, we're using less land, we're using less water, we're generating fewer carbon emissions. We're taking that small step towards building a set of food habits, again, that are not perfect, but are a little bit better. And that's just one step towards our bigger mission of making this food system better.
No, you are absolutely right, Josh. And you know what? We just want to thank you for being right here on Taste Kitchen and sharing this delicious plant-based egg creation. I'm so excited to take this home and try some new recipes and introduce this to my friends because I don't think enough people know about Just Egg.
Make sure to do a little blind taste test too. Don't tell them it's made from
I
plant.
will.
Just make the omelet just how you made it and see what they think. But it's been awesome being with you, Brittany, and sharing our story. Thanks for inviting us on.
Of course, and thanks for all the information. And of course, we want to thank you, our audience, for watching the show. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and smash the bell for more great content. And listen, if you have a great idea for an upcoming episode, please send an email over to a producer at foodabletv.com. We'll catch you next time right here on Taste Kitchen.